Hi, everyone. My name is Nadja Shahab. I'm the Maryland Department of Agriculture's Climate and Environmental Justice Lead. My role serves the department through an advisory role and through program and policy development. The purpose of this recording is to give a brief background on the Environmental Justice Strategic Plan, uh, the background of where it came from, why the goals and the objectives we identify won't be important to MDA as we move forward with its work, the development process of the plan, and opportunities to provide input and feedback from the public. So, just a quick overview. I'm going to run through an agenda very quickly so we know where this is going. So, first, I'm going to give a little bit of background on MDA, and then I'm going to go through and do an environmental justice plan overview, what it entails, how we've proceeded with developing it, and how we plan to engage our community with it. And then finally, I'll end with opportunities for engagement, and that's going to include some modes of contact. I know many of you are probably familiar with some of the work we do, but in case you're not, the Maryland Department of Agriculture serves to represent agriculture's importance and impact to the economy of the state. Our programs are a combination of regulatory, consumer-facing, and educational, or promotional in scope, and are intended to provide the maximum protection possible for the consumer, safeguard the environment, and promote the economic well-being of our farmers, food and fiber processors, and agricultural businesses. So the department operates under three main units: marketing, consumer services, and animal industries, plant industries and pest management, and resource conservation. Each unit is responsible for a wide range of programs, policies, regulations, and commissions. And MDA deals with everything from its marketing programs, such as Maryland's Best or Certified Farm and Fish, to resilient food systems infrastructure programs, animal disease and health, pesticide trainings, safe and sale and regulation of pesticides, animal feeds, pet foods, fertilizers, compost, to our conservation programs and grants, such as Healthy Soils, Urban and Small Farms, our Developing Climate Smart Agricultural Program, Agricultural Water Quality Cost Share and Conservation Grants, and MDA's newest program, Leaders in Environmentally Engaged Farming, also known as LEAF. So at MDA, we work with conservation partners at a federal, state, and local levels in order to remain a leader. Through our conservation efforts, it's become more and more obvious and imperative that we continue to pursue diversity, acceptance, and equitable access to our services, programs, and education. Examples of some current and ongoing efforts of ours include, like I just mentioned, development of producer recognition programs such as LEAF that aim to recognize not just the value of climate smart practices, but also holistic community benefits. We've expanded the definition of Maryland Healthy Soils that was originally defined in HB 1063 to include regenerative traditions and practices that may draw on cultural traditions, practices, and indigenous science. The Harry R. Hughes just released a report, the Maryland Climate Smart Agricultural Roadmap to Resilience. MDA participated in the development of that. In addition, we are positioned to further integrate EJ into our priority actions for climate work. We've also continued to identify, utilize, and create tools to scale, such as the Maryland Department of the Environment's EnviroScreen. And with that, we've created internal guidance and educational materials on how to use those. We facilitate advisory committees at different parts of the department, and will continue to do so and hope and to reflect demographics in the communities in which those committees serve. And then in addition, the Environmental Justice Advisory Role was established in August of 2023, and the agency's first equity pledge was created. So here I've included MDA's existing vision and mission statements, as well as part of our EJ and equity pledge. MDA's mission is to provide leadership and to support agriculture and the citizens of Maryland by conducting regulatory service and educational activities that ensure not just consumer confidence, but protect the environment and promote agriculture. Similarly, we've also pledged to continue the advancement of diversity, equity, and inclusion and justice. We like to say that MDA programs are open to all, and they will continue to be open to all. And we will continue to advance the equity of not just our programs, but our work groups and our policies, and continue to build an understanding and capacity internally to do so. I bring these up because as we move forward with the plan development, I want to keep these in mind. So where did the Environmental Justice Strategic Plan come from? So the Executive Order 01/2025, which is otherwise known as Valuing Opportunity, Inclusion, and Community Equity, also known as the Voice Executive Order, was signed in the summer of 2025, and it covers several objectives across state agencies. It calls for state agencies to review engagement strategies with a focus on Marylanders who reside in historically overburdened and marginalized communities. This also included identifying and implementing mechanisms for state agencies to increase resources and opportunities for those same communities, including historically underrepresented farmers, rural and urban, by reducing barriers to entry. So what is a plan? What is the EJ Environmental Justice Strategic Plan? So the executive order also directs state agencies to create their own environmental justice plan. The plans themselves are meant to be agency-specific documents with goals and metrics that make sense for the work and the mission that each department does. MDA in specific was called upon to continue our existing efforts and work surrounding the advancement of urban agriculture to reduce food insecurity and promoting the benefits and access of fresh produce, and to continue expanding agricultural literacy across the state. We will also continue to make sure that resources and tools are available and easily accessible to farmers across the state, including new and beginning farmers and farmers from traditionally and historically underrepresented communities. The plan is also meant to help further efforts and work that is already underway at each individual agency and to help enshrine that work moving forward. It's really an opportunity for MDA to further build on the agency's existing mission and define how environmental justice looks in the agricultural sector, and to highlight work that we've already been doing and to ensure that agriculture and food accessibility is for all Marylanders. So what's included in the plan? So these 5 factors, five components are all things that will greatly influence the plan as it's drafted and written. And this is primarily where input from the agricultural community, our technical and financial service providers, and education and community partners are going to play a huge role in the drafting and the drafting and planning phase. So our first is the environmental justice vision. How are we defining that for the agency? What does this mean in the context of our work? How do we make sure that our vision and work continue to encompass the diversity that we see in our agricultural community, their needs, and how do we continue to be advocates for them and their needs? To do so, it's important for us to know how our communities define it for themselves, what they think it looks like, and what they consider important. And then next, we've got our goals and objectives. Those follow next. They're meant to connect back to that, so to connect back and support that vision and mission that I've mentioned previously over the long term. So these plans are meant to be living documents, and MDA seeks to achieve direction and results with these. How are we achieving these with measurable outcomes that are able to be seen not just internally at the department, but also for the general public? What can help us move forward? And finally, we have our priority actions and metrics. So can we identify what barriers exist and how can we reduce barriers to access? How do we measure and track our progress in ways that are easily measurable and allow us to gauge process and how much work is being done? So this is the plan development process. I've tried to sum it down very, very, very easily. So the creation and process of the plan has many moving parts. To put it simply, we're currently in phase 2, focusing on information gathering. We want to make sure that we're hearing from everyone, and especially the people we serve and who utilize our programs, and maybe those who don't, those who interact with MDA or maybe don't even know where to start. If you're new, beginning, or seasoned, your thoughts matter as we move forward. We'll have a few opportunities to submit feedback or offer suggestions, and I'll go into more detail about those on a later slide. We're hoping to have a full draft plan completed by late spring 2026. From there, we'll head towards phase 3, which is review and revision. We'll do some internal review and then open it back up publicly for comment and more feedback. The draft will be made available on MDA's website. And if you are interested in following up, an email can also be sent directly to you to let you know when it is made public. So the full plan is meant to be submitted by mid to late summer 2026. From there, plans for all state agencies will also be made publicly available. I mentioned previously that a major component for the development and drafting of this plan is feedback and response we're hoping to receive. It's partly to make sure and to assure that MDA's priorities align with the issues, concerns, and priorities of the communities across the state. Our work is important to us, and the intent is to offer several chances to offer feedback and input across different platforms and gather those from a wide range of stakeholders, partners, and communities. That includes MDA staff, our soil conservation districts, our interagency partners, farmers, commissions and boards, researchers, all groups that we frequently cross paths with during our work. The opportunity to provide feedback will come in virtual surveys, will come in webinars such as this, presentations, discussions, and one-on-one meetings. Again, this plan is meant to be a guiding document for our work moving forward and ensures that our work continues being equitable and just for all of Maryland's farming communities. Finally, I mentioned engagement opportunities. So our visions, our goals, our metrics. As mentioned, we're currently in the drafting and information gathering phase. And while we do have a concept of our own ideas and goals that are identified internally at MDA, we still do want to hear from the public and our partners. Currently, we have two options available for public input. The first would be to fill out the Environmental Justice Strategic Plan survey that is linked here, and it is linked on our website as well. The survey has about 10 questions. Some are open answer, some are multiple choice. And it's going to be, we're going to leave this open for submissions until summer 26 to allow ample time for feedback. At this time, it's only available in English, but we are working on a Spanish translation. And so if you need a Spanish translation sooner than later, please feel free to send us an email and we'll get that to you as soon as possible. The second option is through MDA's Environmental Justice Contact Form. It's a general contact form, so it's not going to have any closing date. It can be used to request a meeting, follow up on questions or concerns. It can also be used to request one-on-one meetings within smaller groups or committees for a more in-depth presentation and discussion surrounding the development and drafting of the plan. We anticipate that the full draft will be available by late spring to early summer of 2026. Like I mentioned previously, it will be open to public comment and review. And finally, that's it for me. If you have any questions or comments, my name is Nadja Shahab. I am the Climate and Community Resilience Administrator, and I can be reached at my personal email, my personal government email, and then also at ej.mda@maryland.gov. I've also included my office phone number if you prefer to call instead of email. I hope that this has been informational. And again, I'm easily reachable if there's more questions, and thank you so much.